Hello there, and welcome to video number 198. This one is on pie charts. Keywords I've got for you are sector and proportion. Now the sector is part of the circle that represents a particular category in the pie chart, piece of the pie basically. And proportion is when you represent something numerically as a part of a whole amount. Okay, so pie charts represent things proportionally. The sector is the thing that represents that thing proportionally, and that's why people like looking at them as easy ways of understanding and interpreting some data that's been collected. The bigger the piece of the pie, the bigger the amount of whatever it is that that's being represented in that particular pie chart. Now, you may be asked to draw a pie chart, you might be required to interpret one. In either case, it's always important to work out the degrees per thing. And the way you work out degrees per thing is 360 divided by the total number of things, and then you multiply by each individual frequency to work out how many degrees you need to draw your sector in the circle. To figure out how many things there are represented by a sector, you do it the other way around. You do sector degrees divided by 360, and then you multiply by the total frequency. Now, all of these are non-calculator-esque questions that I'm going to try and go through with you. And it's a little bit clunky, this way that I'm trying to do it, but I'll try and do my best on this. So, first question, draw a pie chart to represent the information. Some information has been collected about some different types of food, and some numbers are next to those words. So Chinese, 9 people, Italian, 5 people, Indian, 14 people, other, 8 people. All of those numbers add up to 36, which is quite nice for a pie chart question. Okay, so what we do is we take the 360 degrees that the circle is, and we divide by that 36 people, okay, or things, or whatever this thing is, the frequency adds up to, that's the units there. That's going to give us 10 degrees per person, okay? So that is what we need to multiply each one of these numbers by, each one of these frequencies, to work out the size of each sector. So we're going to get 90 degrees, 50 degrees, 140 degrees and 80 degrees. Those are the sizes of the angles that we need to draw. Now I'm going to get rid of all of that because it's a bit chunky and in the way. And then I'm going to bring the protractor in, and I'm going to attempt to draw some angles. Now the center point of the protractor, so just measuring an angle, needs to be in the center of the circle, and then you line up the 0, which if you're going this way around, the 0 is on the inside. And I'm going to line that up with the 90 degrees. So measure the 90, and then what I'm going to do is draw a straight line that goes from the center to the circumference of the circle. Okay, then I'm going to rotate the protractor around. I need to rotate this protractor around. So I line up my protractor and the center point with the new line that I've drawn. So there's the center point there. And I'm going to draw the next angle of 50 degrees. So I go around to 50, which you probably can't see. It goes off the screen a little bit. But that's my 50 degree angle from where I needed to start, and do exactly the same things we did before. Draw a line from the center to the circumference. Again, we need to go round and rotate the protractor. So we're at 140 degrees, lining up the 0 here. So we're going to go round 140. And that's our third part of our pie. Get the line tool back in for that. And draw from the center to the circumference of the circle. And then what you should have is the last bit of the pie left over as the correct size. That should already be an 80 degree angle. It looks roughly to be about 80 degrees. And you can always just measure it by lining up the 0 and then measuring round there. You can see that's an 80 degree angle, or 80-ish degree angle. It's a bit clunky with a big fat line that I'm drawing, but if you draw it with a ruler and a pencil, pretty much bang on an 80 degree angle there, which is quite nice. Now, that's our drawing of pie charts dealt with, and what I'm going to do next in question, actually, before I do that, I do need to label each one of those sectors. So that is my Chinese food. I'm just going to use C for Chinese. I'm just going to pause that a second. Okay, I'm not sure what's gone on there. It's just changed the size of this thing very slightly, but I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, so the Chinese food is this sector here. The Italian food is this sector here. the Indian food is this sector here, and the other food is this sector here. And make sure we label that. I can't fit the words in, but I can write the initials, or if they've got the same starting letter, the second letter is used there, indicating very clearly what represents what. Okay, so the most popular food there, if we were going to look at that, then we'd say is Indian food, because it's got the biggest piece of the pie, proportionally. Question 2. 24 teachers were asked whether they preferred cats, dogs or children. The result is shown in the pie chart. How many teachers preferred children? Now, this part of the pie is worth a certain number of degrees. We can see there's 90 and 120 there already, right? So this would be 360, take away both of those numbers. So adding them together gives us 210. And if we take 210 away from 360, we get 150 degrees. So 150 out of 360 is the proportion of teachers that like children or prefer children over cats and dogs. Okay. Now, the total number of teachers was not 360, it was 24. So what we want to do is we want to cancel this fraction down so that we can make the bottom number 24. That would be the easiest thing to do here. Knocking off the 0 straight away means we can get 15 out of 36. Okay, that's dividing both numbers by 10. Just frozen there for a little bit. Let me just wait. There we go. Unfrozen now, hopefully. So 15 out of 36. Then we're going to divide both of those numbers by 3, because they divide by 3 to give us 5 out of 12. And that bottom number is not 24, but it's easily turned into 24 by multiplying by 2. So if we made it 24 on the bottom, we can make it 10 on the top. Right, everything's kept in proportion there. We've multiplied and divided by exactly the same thing every time. Simplified our fraction down, and we found that the answer therefore would be 10 teachers preferred children when they're asked if they preferred children, cats or dogs. I'm not sure that's entirely representative of teachers in general, but there we go. There's our final answer for that question. Now, moving over to the final one, what we've got here is the pie chart shows the results of football matches two teams have played over a period of time, and the just get the pen back, and team A drew 15 matches. They drew 15 matches. How many matches did they win, or how many wins did they get? So this is a tricky question. Just looking at A's information for the moment, we might need to compare it with B's in part B. But A's team here, we've got 15 matches out of some matches. We don't know how many, okay, but we do know that it's proportionally it's 225 degrees out of 360 degrees. So if we write that down, we can then think of turning this into an equivalent fraction, right? But this time, because we know it's 15 matches that they drew, that's the number that goes on the top, out of the total number of matches we don't know yet. Now, what you have to do is think about what can you divide 225 by to make 15. If you know your square numbers, you'll know that 15 squared is 225. So actually, if you divide 225 by 15, you get 15. And if you divide 360 by 15, you get 24. And that is the total number of matches that have been played. It's not the end of the question yet, because we had to work out how many wins they got. So that's 75 degrees out of the 360 degrees. The good thing is, remember, we know we can divide our 360 by 15 to get 24. So we divide our 75 by 15 and we get 5. Okay, so we're doing the same thing again. It's just using the logic that we've just used twice, basically. Okay, so I'm going to erase that information if I can get the eraser tool up. Don't like this way of working. It's very clunky and I have to draw over stuff and it's not very neat, but never mind. Part B, we're going to answer part B. We have to say Samson says that Team B won more games. Is he correct? Well, looking at Team B's information, all we've got is the proportion of games that they've won and drawn and lost. We haven't got the actual number of games that they have won, drawn and lost. There's no information that we have there. So Samson is not correct. And we say that the pie chart represents the proportion of games won rather than the actual number. I'm not going to write that there because it would take me forever and I wouldn't be able to fit it in. Okay, so I'm just going to put ... You need to write that reason in order to get that question correct, but I have verbally said it. So if you've forgotten what I've just said, rewind, and then that's what you should be writing down. Okay, I'm really sorry about this video. It's really clunky. I've done it a few times over now, and it's quite a frustrating one to have made. So I've got to the end of it, and I'm hoping this one will work and stick. All right, take care of yourselves, look after one another, have a lovely day, goodbye.